Hi everyone. I'm doing this in English like my last one that I did a year and a half ago, so that family and friends in North America can also understand what I'm saying. But I'm sure all of my Danish family and friends can understand everything as well. So, yeah, I thought it was about time that I did a follow-up to my first video where I told that I had cancer, throat cancer. Yeah, it was a long bout of treatment and healing, but I'm finally on the other side of it. It took about 14 months of struggle, but I've been on the mend since about February, March. I went in for I had a half-year checkup and then also a full-year checkup. The beginning of March was the last one, where they could still say that I was cancer-free, which is great. I just didn't have a lot of appreciation of being cancer-free when they first told me in June of 25, because I was still struggling with so many other issues. And what everyone here in Denmark pretty much knows, I haven't really filled everyone in on Facebook in terms of what transpired after my first treatment. So I thought it was time to do that. So this is that. The treatment lasted 3 months and actually went all right, really. I was kind of surprised that I wasn't more sick. I did get sick and I was heavily medicated and everything, but I thought that I'd come through it quite well. However, following my treatment, things got worse. So the burn on my throat that I thought that I had escaped first appeared about 2 weeks after I finished treatment in March of last year, and did develop to 3rd-degree burns. So this whole area here was just one big patch that needed to heal. I had to have patches on it to protect it, and yeah, ointments and stuff. But it healed pretty quickly, and you can't really see it today, which is cool. Following that, my esophagus started to close up. As of April, my birthday, when my son Amadeus came over to visit me, which was lovely, and my daughter was there, and they were all meeting me at the hospital. I was still at the hospital then. I was still able to eat a little bit. I could eat ice cream and yogurt and soup and things like that, but it was getting worse. And shortly after that, it completely closed up. So I wasn't able to swallow anything at all. I couldn't even swallow my own saliva. So it was pretty bad. And initially they thought that it might only last a few weeks, but those few weeks passed, and more weeks passed, and more weeks passed. So yeah, as soon as my esophagus closed up, I had to be put on intravenous nourishment, since it was the only way of keeping me alive at that point. And I was in hospital for a couple of months with that, and then I came home for a month. And when I was at home, I was restricted to being inside, because I still had to have the intravenous tubes in my arms, and I had home nursing 5 times a day to take care of me, and I had to walk around with this tripod on wheels at all times. So that was quite restrictive. And then after another month at home, I had to go back into hospital again, because as they had told me, I could only have this intravenous solution for for 3 months, and then my arms wouldn't be able to handle it anymore. And that definitely became the case because it started to hurt very immediately as soon as I started having. I had about 4 hours each day where I didn't have the intravenous tubes feeding me, but as soon as they started me up, it became very painful each day, and just, the pain just carried on. I was on a lot of painkillers for a very long period of time, but it still hurt. So I had to go in and have an operation, and they had to put a tube in my stomach so I could feed myself with a syringe through a tube. And when they had to operate, normally what they do is they go down with a camera through your esophagus down to your stomach, so that they can use a camera to find out where to put the hole. But they couldn't even get that tiny little tube down my esophagus, which surprised them. So I had to have it operated. They had to make an incision in my stomach instead. So I had to have that done, and then I was back home again, still with a lot of with home nursing still, but less. Yeah, so still some nursing, but less and less, and a lot more freedom, which was great because I could finally get out of the house. That was wonderful. And start getting over to the horses again. I hadn't been there pretty much at all for about a half year. So I'd really missed that. Yeah, so I had a lot more freedom to move around. But things did not get better. So I was starting to lose a lot of weight at that point, which I continued to do throughout the year. And that was rather concerning, and I was taking as much as I could possibly take through the syringes, but it wasn't enough to put on any weight, so I was losing a lot. And my energy was very, very low, and my immune system was in a really bad place. So then first I had blood poisoning, they found out, so I had to be on pretty heavy duty treatment for that, and that was fairly serious, but then I got over that. That was good. And then some other issues propped up, and we didn't know what it is, and I started having really horrible nights and started shaking a lot more, and anyway, it all resulted in very severe convulsions, and I actually had to be rushed to hospital twice with an ambulance. They still didn't know what the problem was, and kept me there for observation both times without finding any solution. Was sent home and still having issues, and it turned out that I had a staph infection. So, and that was serious too. So then I had treatment for that. So the year just kept bringing more and more and more surprises, and I was very, very weak, and yeah, everything I got hit with was quite severe. So that's why I haven't done a lot of updates throughout the year. But eventually things started getting better. I've had 4 throat operations where it's under full narcosis, and they go down and put instruments in your throat and expand the esophagus. The first one didn't work. It only worked for 24 hours and then closed up again. But the second, third, and fourth have made things better. And my third one, which was in December of last year, enabled me to eat enough that I thought, okay, I'm going to take the jump and remove the tube in my stomach. I felt fairly confident that I could sustain my weight just with what little I could eat, which was in fact the case. So I had the tubes removed just before Christmas, and Amadeus and his wife Elena and my granddaughter came over. So I saw my second granddaughter for the first time in December, and that was incredible. And I had both my kids for Christmas for the first time in many years. I went over to my daughter's place on the mainland and had a fantastic Christmas together. So that really lifted my spirits. And then I had my fourth operation in January, and following that, I started getting much better, started to get more strength back and my spirits back. I was in a really bad space last year, to say things honestly, but that's gone. And yeah, I've now started back at work, slowly, just doing a few hours a week, but it's great. And I'll be increasing that as time goes on. It's fantastic being back at work. I've missed it so much, missed my colleagues, missed all of my fantastic customers, many of whom have become very, very good friends. Yeah, and just getting life back on track. My strength is slowly coming back. And more than anything, my spirits are way up. I'm really, really happy again. I'm really happy that I've pulled through this. It was a bit of a scary run, but I'm here now. And it's great, and I have so many to thank for it, from everybody in the health system, hospitals, and especially my closest friends and family who've been there the whole way and have been an enormous support. Everything's obviously been hard on everyone, and I felt really bad about that. Not much I can do about it, but it doesn't change the fact that I do feel bad that everybody had to be so concerned, especially my kids, Vega, my parents, my closest friends. I know it affected them deeply. That was hard. And the fact that Vega had to deal with all this for over a year on a daily basis is really, it was a huge weight on her shoulders. But she did it, and she supported me and was always there with love and kindness and all of her effort. But it's been a hard run. But now we're here. So I just wanted to do this update so that everybody knows, those who haven't been able to follow things on Messenger. I just thought I owed it to everyone to do this update and let you know that I'm good, I'm back, and I'm cancer free, and I'm eating again. Not quite what I used to, but enough. I'm still struggling, and I still have another couple of operations, but I'm good. You know, and even if it doesn't improve any better than this, I'm still good. You know, because I'm getting better every day. Every week is good. Denmark is fantastic right now. The sun is out so much, and we've had the best spring, and I've been a lot at the horses, making my trips back and forth to town to do a bit of work, and yeah, I'm in a really good space. So I just wanted to share that. I've had a few that have been asking, so this is filling those people in. And thank you so much for all of your comments on my first video. It meant a lot. All of them. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you. That's all for now.